Hi guys, and welcome to the Feel Good class. So this is my free intro class that leads you into the Mindful Moves course. And this is a really great way to connect back to your body and just to explore and learn the movements that really feel right in your own body, but it also gives you an opportunity to learn how you might embrace some alternatives and the adaptations to certain poses. If you are new to my online classes, this is Brucey, and as much as I try to set him up on his own mat in the corner, he always finds a way to end up on mine and to join us for the session. So as you can see, I have a mat here. I have my grip socks on today, but feel free to do this barefoot. Up, down, down. Good boy. And we're just coming to find a comfortable seat, whatever that might be for your body. So cross leg, kneeling, legs outstretched. And then we're simply going to be moving the torso and into the hips a little bit into a nice, smooth, circular motion to begin with. So you can choose the pace, the direction, the size of your circle, just freeing up the body a little bit more and exploring how that feels. A few times in one way and then starting to work those circles in the opposite direction as if you were unraveling the body. Beautiful. And when you feel like you've worked an equal amount of time in both directions, come to find that pause. We're going to use the inhale, mindful of anything next to you, to sweep the arms out and up. Hands might come to meet together. They might be slightly apart. If all the way above is a little bit too much, you just might like to float the arms out to the sides. But we're using the inhale to create the lift and rise, and then an exhale to dive forward. And again, the depth and length is entirely up to you. So you might just come part the way down into a more rounded back position, or you might let the fingers and hands really slide forward. Wherever you are, add a little movement in. Nice easy sway from side to side. You can let the neck and head drop into it too. Breathing cruisy and easy in out through the nose as you move. And then on another inhale, you want to roll and stack everything up and come straight away back into that sweeping action, lifting motion. Exhale, diving forward. Find somewhere to grip. Little sway from side to side. Nice and smooth. And we're not demanding anything from the body today, we're just exploring movement, again flowing into that inhale, sweep and lift, exhale, diving forward, easing from side to side. And this might be your first opportunity today to really connect with your body and how you are. And now just rolling it back into center. From here we're going to come over onto all fours, so into tabletop position. I'm going to manage this as best as possible with Mr. Brucey here. This is nearly making it to the blooper reel, but I think we can manage. So hands underneath the shoulders roughly, knees underneath your hips here, and we're going to flow into the cat-cow. So this is a really nice one to warm and loosen up the upper region of the body, and again explore your range and what feels nice for you. We can just start off with a bit of a hold here. So we're lifting through the chin. Chin is easing forward and upward, and the tailbone is also lifting up as you create a really nice hollow into the back. Your navel here, so at the region of your belly button, you want to feel like that's dropping down towards the ground here. So you're creating a beautiful deep stretch into the front torso, and then we reverse that stretch. So you round over nicely into the back, chin rolls in towards your chest here as best you can. Tailbone tucks under as if to meet the chin. So you're creating now that opposing stretch, a really deep stretch along the back line of the body. Navel, instead of feeling like you're sucking it upward and inward, it just naturally draws up with the contraction of the abdominal muscles. So you're using those muscles to really draw up and in with the navel without having to suck. Now we're going to create a little bit of a synchronization with the breath. So you're going to inhale on the lift. And you might notice already there's a bit of a trend here with partnering an inhale with a lifting motion. And then an exhale upon the release as you round over and deeply stretch out the back. Nice and easy as you inhale, floating forward and up. Little pause at the end there to linger just a smidge longer. And then exhaling all the way over. And ideally here we're breathing in and out through the nose. We'll do one more. And your nose is your natural filter here, so we want to use it as much as possible. Exhaling over. Beautiful. We're going to take rest here for a moment by letting the knees come nice and apart to nut distance, if that's manageable for you. Sliding the big toes together and just see how low you can go with the hips. So they're going to sink back towards the heels. By no means do you have to sit on top of the heels if that's uncomfortable, particularly for knees or ankles. You can create a little bit of height and elevation there, or prop yourself up onto a block or a pillow. There's lots of makeshift blocks that we can use around the house. You don't have to necessarily buy a yoga block. Wherever you're comfortable in easing back down, you can then choose the support at the front. So you can either prop up onto your elbows here, taking some of the weight out, or if all is good, we slide the hands all the way out and let the forehead touch nice and lightly down to the floor. So what you're creating here is beautiful length in the side body, traveling that along the spine, gripping down through the pads of the fingertips as you sink back and down through the hips. So the inner hips here are starting to open a little bit more, and just breathing with what you find. Quite often as well, if you're finding some tension in the hips and you're working your way through that, it's the jaw that you want to relax. So there is a correlation there between sort of tightening and clenching into the teeth and jaw and feeling that tension in the hips. So the more we soften into our face and jaw, the more that softness actually finds its way into different regions of your body. So we'll take 2 more breaths here. This is known as your frog stretch or frog pose. And then carefully starting to stack up through the spine, through the body to roll yourself out from that. So we're going to return back into our tabletop position here to explore a little bit of a semi-flowing movement from tabletop to half downward dog, full position, and then forward to plank. And then we kind of reverse it and repeat it depending on how far the body wants to go. At any time when you feel like you need to take rest, nice neutral position, low to the floor to take that pause. So assuming your tabletop position first, we start this off by tucking the toes under, back behind the body, easing back down towards the heels. So here you don't want to feel the arms are lax, you want to feel that they're activated for you. And a great way to start that is by pressing down through pads of the fingers so you've got a nice grip into the ground. Let that travel into the upper arms, lower your head in between upper arms so you're looking at your knees. And then keep looking there as you hover a little off the floor here. So halfway between the floor and your full downward dog position. You're going to send your tailbone further back here. So we're lengthening more into the upper region of the body. So the torso stretching back. Going to start to really generate some fire in the thighs. So this is where my voice gets a little bit raspy. And then we're going to unravel. Now, in that unravel, if you feel like your legs are blocked, you can adjust both hands and feet. Typically, I usually pivot the feet back further, but I've got Brucey here occupying my mat a little bit. So you make do with what you've got. Create that space, and then it's always a good idea to loosen off the legs with a bit of a cycle. I sometimes spiral a little from side to side. Be really mindful of your hands and wrists here. If anything's getting a little sore, you might like to roll the front edge of your mat over. Give yourself some cushioning. Some people like to use the knuckles to the floor with thumbs forward, so it's a little bit more stable. And alternatively, you can also use your forearms, so you can actually drop down to those if the hands aren't playing ball here. From this position, we're going to create more length and come forward into plank. So plank is creating a nice long line through the body, core is activated, and knees can either be up or down here. Now, if all is feeling good, we're going to add in a little drop down through the hips, reach the shoulders back behind you, soften into the elbows a little, and we're sinking into a semi-up dog. You can flatten into the feet if all feels good, just exploring where you would like to take it. Then we're going to re-tuck the toes under so we find our way back to plank. And then using that core strength to press your hips back into your full downward dog. Entering that half downward dog position with a little pause. And then dropping the knees all the way down. You can sink back and down here into what's known as child's pose with hands forward or just nice and easy beside your feet, letting the head drop down. Now, by all means, if you would like to repeat that through, you certainly can. Just explore where the body would like to go.
from your half dog, full dog, into plank. A little bit of an up dog stretch, and then we reverse it back. So you go from your plank, down dog, half dog, and to the floor. But otherwise, of course, enjoying that time for rest before rolling yourself back up into sitting.
So here to end off, finding that comfortable seat, whatever that might be for you, kneeling, legs out stretched, cross leg. We're just going to end off with a little bit of breath observation, so nothing too intense. Placing one hand over the center of your chest where you can still lightly touch into the collarbones. And the other hand just resting nice and easy over your belly, over your navel. Closing down the eyes. Nice natural lift up through the body. Relaxing as best you can your facial muscles. And just exploring initially the movement that can be found both at the top hand, so within the chest, and the lower hand within the belly. Not necessarily trying to force movement into those areas, but just naturally observing the flow and movement of your own breathing. And just that suggestion alone of observing the breath, you automatically might find that the breath responds. It might slow down in pace a little bit. You might access more length, a more calmer and easier breath. And the breath is known as the bridge between your mind and your body, so it's a really great one to zone in on from time to time. And you don't have to do this for too long, a couple of minutes a day just to pause, make touch and contact with your body, and observe what's happening here. And then after your next breath out, we're just going to bring the practice to a close by bringing the hands together. And if you wish to join with me, we bring the thumbs to the body, connecting to self, the fingers out into the world around you, and we end with Namaste. So the light in me honours and respects the light in you, and I look forward to meeting you on your mat.